Um, I'm a psychoanalyst by training, and I started the Men's Centre in 1982, and we worked in a very dedicated way. Everybody was trained as either an analyst or a psychotherapist, and we worked in a very dedicated way with male abusers. And we still do. I no longer run group programs for abusers. It's burnout work. 10 years normally sees you off, and I did it for nearly 30, and it was more than enough. But I'm just going to make a very simple, bold statement. I mean, I still do work with abusers, but I'll only do it individually now, and I do it psychoanalytically. I don't use cognitive behavior therapy. I don't do anything except psychoanalysis. But it's very feminist-informed psychoanalytic thinking. My very first book was called Why Men Hate Women, which is a very long time ago. I was very lucky, and it was very successful. I've published another 3 since then, not all on the same theme, I might add. But the one bold statement I want to make is that stopping a man being violent is incredibly easy. Now, there may be people in this audience who work, in fact I know there are, who work with violent abusers, who might find it much more difficult than I do. I don't know, I doubt it. Challenged in the right way, a violent domestic abuser, a violent offender, will stop. Literally, after 2 sessions with me, I know they're not going to be violent again. So when people say to me, is it effective? My answer is, it's the wrong question. Because it's not actually about violence. I know if you're on the receiving end of a punch in the face, it's very much about violence. But one of the, and I just want to try and put this in some kind of historical context. My first book was very much, not only very psychoanalytically informed, it was very much of a polemic. I was full of passion, I was young, I used to get incensed when I came across stories of women being abused by men, and that passion informed my work and it informed my writing. I'm not as passionate now because I'm much more tired. Not that my commitment has been reduced. But the thing is that the abuse of women is trans-historical and trans-cultural. It goes right back through history. And it's all about power. And when you ask what is power, well, it's dead simple. It's about the control of resources. And women are a resource. And men will and have historically done everything that they needed to do to maintain control of women and power over the available resources. Why aren't priests allowed to get married? Priests in the Catholic Church are not allowed to get married because if they did, their wives would then inherit church property. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but actually, historically, there's a lot of truth in that. Now, so violence is not the issue. The issue is about control. It's about power and maintaining control. Now, there are 40% of men will acknowledge that they've been physically violent to a woman. And you think, oh, well, we could stop those 40% relatively easily. And I still have friends who work with abusers in groups, and they say the same as me. Yes, of course, I can stop them easily. It's not the problem. To really stop an abusive man being coercively controlling and giving a woman the look, and there isn't a woman in this room who doesn't know what I mean when I talk about the look. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you don't need to say anything. You're in a party, he's across the room, he doesn't like what you're doing, and he gives you the look. And you know what it means. Stop or else. And the whole edifice of male power and control is based on that. And the look is the most basic. Violence is only the most extreme form of control the man will use when all the other efforts to control his partner fail. So a man will escalate his methods of control until finally he says, fuck it, you're asking for it now. Okay, and it's her fault, of course, because she knows what pushes his buttons, right? He never owns the fact that they're his buttons. He's got them, she knows what they are, and if she pushes them, then she deserves everything she gets from pushing that button. Now, the whole thing about, getting back to the trans-historical thing, and I'm going to address a point that was made earlier. I have never, and I've worked with thousands of male abusers, and I've worked with female abusers too, don't get me wrong, not very many, but I have met some. Every male abuser I've ever worked with presented himself as a victim. Every single one. It's the most basic form of denial. Now, I'm not saying that men don't get abused by women. Of course they do. But it's a very minor problem. And I'm not even talking about the numbers. The whole idea of gender neutrality in dealing with domestic violence, quite frankly, is bollocks. This is not a gender neutral issue. Women can be violent. Women can use coercive and emotional abuse on men, yes. But that's a completely different phenomenon from the phenomenon of men's abuse of women. Statistically, psychologically, clinically, by every single measure, they are not comparable. Domestic violence, men's abuse of women, is a gendered crime. Now, what I object to, and it's not just about, I'm fine that there are services for men who are being abused, most of which happens in gay relationships, by the way. I'm fine with that. What I'm not fine with is services like Respect offering support for men who present themselves as victims. Now, my real objection to this, and it's a very powerful objection, is that they immediately put themselves into the ring, competing for resources against what are already diminishing resources for supporting women who are abused by men. That's my serious objection to it. I'm fine if they want to separate themselves and present themselves for funding independently. I'm very much against services for men being included in services which offer support for women who are abused by men. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about it. No doubt there'll be questions about that. But the thing is that dealing with the whole historical thing, look, Mary Wollstonecraft was the first one who was well recorded, a vindication of the rights of women, what, 1794, 5, 6? Massive reaction. The sans-culottes during the French Revolution, women without trousers, running around Paris, challenging wealthy men who didn't support the revolution, and dishing out to them what the men were dishing out. And what happened? The assembly got wind of this and they thought, my God, we've got to be careful here. These women are behaving as if they've got some power here. So what did they do? They castrated the sans-culottes. They actually closed them down. And time after time in history, right through to dear old Germaine, who I adore, burning her bra, massive reaction to that. And now what do we have? We have a lot of women saying, we're living in a post-feminist age. Nonsense, we're not living in a post-feminist age. And I'm not just talking about in this culture. Look in the Far East. Look at what happens to women in war, victims of rape. Women as a tool of war. And this happens all over the world, in Africa, in the Far East, in South America. This is a transcultural, transhistorical problem. Men are determined, we are determined. How many minutes? 2 minutes? 3 minutes. I've only just said hello. Okay. I'll have to truncate myself, or is that castrate? Okay, let me choose. Dealing with the basic issue. Why do men want to abuse women? Because we want power and control over them, because we want control of women, we want control of the resources, money, jobs. The statistics about this are overwhelming. Glass ceilings here, slavery in the Middle East and the Far East. Clinically, and as a psychoanalyst, of course, now that I've lost my political passion, it's the clinical issues that interest me. Why do men want to abuse the women that they say they love? Well, point one, they don't love them. Any man who abuses a woman does not love her. He is incapable of love. He will tell you he loves you. He doesn't, his relationship with love is not even distant. They're not on the same planet. They're stuck in a developmental fixation at around the age of 2, which they have never worked through and never transcended. And they blame women for that. women get blamed. Every narrative, in any clinical situation, any narrative a man gives you about the woman he's abusing always boils down to three things, but actually there's only one. She doesn't give him enough tit. Okay? And I'm using that as a metaphor. Affection, the food's no good, it doesn't matter. And they're all basically, they all boil down to that. And fundamentally, the problem with men, and I own this, by the way, I'm not saying it's same over there. The problem we have is that we need you. And it's bloody intolerable. It's really, really intolerable. Because women are so powerful, and the truth is we're all terrified of women. And I don't care how healthy we are, how much we've transcended, worked through all of those basic developmental crises, nuclear or otherwise, paranoid schizoid position, depressive position, the Oedipus complex, doesn't matter how well we think we've worked those things through, believe me, we haven't. Some of us, even at my advanced age of 70, still try. Okay. I promise you I am trying. I'm going to stop. Thank you.